Hi everyone, I'm Cao Lujia. The topic I'm talking about is the coronavirus pandemic in America. I would like to share some reasons for me to choose this topic. As we all know, coronavirus is a worldwide issue. America is the country with the highest number of confirmation cases. People in America have gone through a hard time. At the beginning of 2020, I was exactly in America studying for my bachelor degree, so I was the witness of this disaster. According to the scientists at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the transmission likely began in late January or early February. When we hear about the coronavirus pandemic, I think the pandemic are from two different aspects. The first one is from the virus itself. Everyone is afraid of getting COVID-19. Another one is from people around us. There might be discriminations towards people with face masks and people in different ethnic groups. I found an article from the New York Times in 2021. The name was Asian Americans are being attacked. Why are hate crimes charges so rare? In this article, the writer listed many examples about Asians who had been attacked in America. These cases were not surprising. The first case in this article was about a Chinese man who walked home near Manhattan's Chinatown neighborhood. Suddenly, a stranger ran up behind him and plugged a knife into his back. The perpetrator was a 23-year-old man from Yemen. He had not said a word before the attack. Finally, prosecutors determined they lacked enough evidence to prove a racist motive. This case was charged with attempted murder, not a hate crime. This case was considered a new racism crime towards Asians. The coronavirus accelerated the racism in America and caused a huge pandemic among different ethnicities. Although so many attacking issues happened in America, it was still hard to prove a racist motive. Another case was about Robert Aaron Long. He was a white man. He was charged with shooting people in the Atlanta area, but investigators said it was too early to determine a motive. When the man was arrested, he denied he had a racial bias, so it was hard to identify it as a racist case. These attacks has exposed difficult questions in proving a racist motive. Why were so many Asians being attacked? Just as the writer mentioned in the article, stereotypes may influence people's opinions. They might think Asian women are very weak and regarded them as submissive targets. The reality was that the law was simply not designed to account for many of the ways in which Asian Americans experience racism. Here is an example in the article. In New York State, to charge such attacks as hate crimes, prosecutors would need to show that the victims were targeted because of her race. As more and more attacking cases happened in America, people were willing to buy guns to protect themselves. This graph shows the percentage of households in the new United States only one or more firearms from 1972 to 2020. It was published by the Statista Research Department. As we can see, in 2019, it reached a low point. However, as the virus spread it out, the rate became higher and higher. According to a research paper named Impact of Coronavirus Pandemic on Education, the pandemic is shown not only on physical safety, but also on students' education. Both professors and students were required to move to online education for their personal safety. In this research paper, the writer mentions that online education was hindered by poor infrastructures, including network, power, inaccessibility, and unavailability issues, and poor digital skills. It means that not everyone has the good condition to access the network. If the spread of coronavirus prolonged, it could threaten the right to education. School closures may cause severe problems for students. If they could not receive consistent education on time, they might get involved in crimes. When teenagers lose their interest in learning, it will be hard for them to continue a higher education. Thus, it was not only a pandemic for students, but also a pandemic for the whole society. There are some other bad effects which the writer had pointed out in the article. For example, many youngsters rely on free lunch or discount food provided by people. The shutting down of school is exactly the diminishing of resources for some poor kids to get the food. And as for the vaccination, the vaccine has been invented for a period of time. Studies have shown that getting vaccinated is an effective way to prevent infection. So according to a report from Pompai News Online, the title was 钟南生 get vaccinated. Hope everyone can get vaccinated immediately. The title is quite straightforward. It's very good that a famous specialist get vaccinated. Then people will be willing to get vaccinated like him and follow his directions. And in the New York Times, I found a report from about vaccination. The title is "See How Vaccinations Are Going in Your Country and State." There is a subtitle called "Are the Most Vulnerable Countries Being Vaccinated?" In this article, we can find the attitude from the government through it. As it shows in the article, speed is not the only priority for the country's vaccination campaign. So this opinion is quite different from Chinese media.